What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's your boy Attikis. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We got the championships going on today. Championship Sunday. We got the Rams and the Seahawks. And then we also got the Patriots with the Broncos with a backup quarterback. I mean, we've seen that before. And I know Broncos fans are really hoping that Stidham comes out on top. I don't know how I feel about that, but we're going to get into all those things. But don't forget, if you like the content that we have to share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. So every time we drop some new content, you're one of the first ones to be notified. Got my boy Mike back today. Mike and I have not talked football in a while. We just been busy going in different circles and stuff like that. But it's always good for us to have a conversation about football and just talk about what's going on in the league. So, Mike, how you doing today? What's going on, man?
I mean, I couldn't be any better, right? I think we're in the middle of it's a good day to have Championship Sunday. I'll say that. And it's, with snow abound outside from here to there and everywhere, just makes for a good day to be inside and watch some football. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think we got some good games on slate. It has been a while, so maybe a couple nuggets to catch up on later. But I think the important thing is really the championship games, right? And you started with a backup quarterback in the AFC,
Right.
trying to knock off what looks like could be a juggernaut.
Mm.
And then the Rams game, the Rams Seahawks game is the one that
Oof.
if it's anything like their Week 16 game, I think we're just in for a great game. You know.
Sure. I think the Rams Seahawks game became more intriguing once Bo Nix went out. I mean, you kind of hope that it's going to be a really good game, but the Patriots, you talked about it, they're looking like a juggernaut. 8-0 on the road this year. They're going into Mile High Stadium, and we've seen how that's affected other teams going up there to play. But you got Matthew Stafford playing in year, I don't know, 15 or 16, being considered as the MVP this year. And Sam Darnold, like, I got to give credit to the guy, right? Because I will never forget his opening game as a quarterback. I think it was Monday night or Sunday night football. His first pass was a pick six.
Yeah.
Never forget it. And it's been tough sledding for him. But then you pair him with the right offensive mind, the right team, the right circumstances in Minnesota, and then he gets a big deal, goes to Seattle, and again, he's surrounded by all the right pieces, and now he's in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, it's kind of crazy, right? From that draft class, the fact that he's the first one that's got an opportunity, he might be the first one to. No, Lamar played in a championship game. Others have played in championship games, but he's probably. I think he's going to be the first one to go to the Super Bowl. Just to we'll clear the air there for my prediction a little bit.
Mm, okay.
Out of that draft class, and it's funny because I don't know if it was on our other podcast or if it was just trash talking on the page, but this class looked monstrous, right, when it was drafted. Baker, Lamar, Josh, Sam Darnold,
Six quarterbacks in the first round, if I
you know,
remember correctly.
yeah, and I was like, I think that Darnold's got the most upside, right? And then he had that horrendous first game with the Jets. Um, And we really shouldn't hold it against quarterbacks going to the New York Jets ever.
I was
Right.
gonna say the Jets doesn't have
You know,
they don't have a good track record with drafting quarterbacks.
no,
So
we shouldn't hold it against them. But it didn't. It looked like that early prediction was way off base. And
right.
now here we are 8 years later, and he's got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And he's the right
And they
quarterback for
might be
Seattle.
favored also
Yeah,
because of him, not in spite
yeah.
of him.
That and they're playing at home, right? Like Seattle's back in that 12 mode, right? Like Seattle, in Russell Wilson's heyday was like not a place you wanted to go play. It just wasn't. And they're back on that energy, and that means a lot in the playoffs, right? Like I don't people can say what they want, but energy is huge, right? There's a reason we play for home field advantage, We want
Yeah.
that crowd behind us. We want that energy.
Do you
You know,
remember beast mode when they were 7-9 going into the play? That was and you're right. I mean, playing in Seattle is just different out there. It's just like playing in Denver. It's
yeah,
different out there, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's again, it's an exciting day, right? Like I'm happy for Sam Darnold. I'm happy for Matt Stafford, but he's already got a chip. And again, their last game, week 16, was a barn burner. It came down to an overtime win, going for two in overtime to win. Huge,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we get anything remotely close to that, I think that we're gonna be loving life a little bit today. And then we
Yeah.
go over to the other side. Yes, Drake May's been looking phenomenal. Pretty sure I said he was the best quarterback in the draft last year too.
Mm-hmm.
And they they just look really good. They're a well balanced team. Vrabel's a good coach, right? Like, I mean, whatever's going on in Tennessee wasn't on Vrabel. Vrabel's a good coach, and he's home. Like came home to be the head coach of the Patriots. Um, Denver's got that number one defense, and they are stout. And I think if there's anything that history has shown us is that the Patriots maybe don't do so hot against backup quarterbacks. They've had a few
Mm-hmm.
losses out there,
They've had a
right?
few. Yeah.
Um, and backup quarterbacks have stepped into the play. You know one, Jeff Hostetler played for the Giants.
Hostetler. That's right.
Little
And
Hostetler shout out there. Um,
yeah.
Backup quarterbacks in the right system can thrive, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just need to catch fire once, and he's got a team around him. So I'm hoping for that aspect of it, right? Like I'm hoping that they could step up. And you mentioned it a few minutes ago. Playing in Denver is it's a different ball game.
Right.
You are a mile high in the sky, and that's going to be a factor. It just will.
Yeah, no doubt. And you got to give credit to the coaching staffs and how important is it to have the right coach of your team? And you mentioned a few things. I want to start off by saying, um, when it comes to the location where you're playing the game, like home field advantage matters, right? Seattle and Denver are entirely different places to play. You mentioned they're a mile high in the sky. And I've listened to different players talk about their experience playing in Denver. And they talk about, when you first start off, it doesn't feel any different. You just moving and grooving and doing what you need to do. And then by the third quarter, you can't get your breath and you don't know why, because you're not exerting any more energy than you did at last Sunday's game or last Monday's game. But now you're sucking on oxygen. So that matters. But I also wanted to, like, I started talking about, like, these head coaches, man. Sean Payton, right? Like
Hmm.
Sean Payton went to Denver, and Bo Nix, we all thought he was pretty good, but who would have seen him having the season he's had? Their defense is playing unbelievably well, and they're complementing each other's style of play, and they're not having their players do something outside of their personal skill set. So what makes them good individually is what they're exploiting, and they're playing extremely well as a result of that. Who knew? I don't even know that Bo Nix knew that he had a fracture in his what was his ankle or something like that, and he played the last couple of plays
Hmm.
that way. So enter Stidham. I don't know what to expect from him because, quite honestly, I haven't seen him play enough to know, and I don't even think he's been on the field this year. What a time to be thrust into a game. The good thing is he's at home. Another good thing is they have a decent running game, so they can
Hmm.
rely on that. And Sean Payton knows how to draw up plays to compensate for a weakness on his team. So I think that they're going to be okay. I don't know that they're going to be enough for the New England Patriots. The Patriots and Vrabel. Oh my God, Vrabel. I did not expect him to leave Tennessee. In Tennessee, you mentioned the problems they have there. I think the problems in Tennessee has more to do with ownership and
Hmm.
their general manager than anything. And Vrabel let a lot of players tend to leave Tennessee for a variety of reasons. But I mean, if you just look at how much quality talent leaves there, you start to wonder why. But
Mm-hmm.
what he's got going on in New England right now, it's almost, and granted, they had the weakest schedule in the league, but they've met every single challenge, Mike. It met it well. I don't doubt that they'll meet this one today, too.
And I don't want to discount strength of schedule, but like as an Eagles fan, I've heard that in the past, right? You had a weak schedule, right? Still got to go out and play football. Is it a factor? Yeah, but I'm not certain that it's as big a factor as we tend to make it out to be, right? You
You
still
still
like
got to win the games.
still got to win the games. It's not like you're playing the bottom four teams, in the league every other week, right? Like there's some other games thrown in there. Somebody's got to be kind of decent. They beat Buffalo, right? Like so, and Buffalo was the darling dandy, coming into they were supposed to. This was the year, right, that they were going to get to the Super Bowl, and they didn't. So
Yeah.
it's I'm not giving as much weight to that because I think they've well coached and executed, and more importantly, did what they were supposed to do. If
That's
we're gonna go,
absolutely.
if we're gonna go strength of schedule, I'm supposed to win these games. Well, they did.
They did. But you brought up they beat Buffalo last week. The Broncos, or was it 2 weeks? Whatever. The
Yeah,
Broncos played Buffalo. Did you think that was a catch or an interception?
it was an interception.
You think it was an interception?
I think before the knee, well, for one, it's all one motion, right? So knee down is irrelevant. But as the knee touches, do they both have possession? Yes, I think they did. Do I think that the momentum of him rolling over the other player aided in his ability to pull that ball out? Absolutely. But I mean, that's what it is.
I think
Unless you
that.
define things completely clear,
Hmm.
it's a bang bang play, and
Yeah.
the ball never hit the ground. So who had it when they got up?
Right. I see what you're saying. And, I wouldn't even bring it up if it weren't for what you mentioned before. Like the Patriots, this could have been a rematch of Patriots Bills, right?
Yeah.
And I think that had the referees called that a reception by the offensive player, they could not overturn it because there was inconclusive evidence to suggest that the defender actually had the same level of, if any, control of the ball when they went down, but a hell of a job selling it because they called it an interception. So I do think it was a shit deal for the Bills because normally that play is called in favor of the offensive player. Normally. And I think at a game of this magnitude, why would you stray outside of normal protocol and give it to the defender in that case when the defender is literally standing over and you can see his positioning would suggest that the offensive player definitely had control, but we don't know if the defender had control when it was going down or if he was simply trying to wrestle the ball out. Neither here nor there at this point,
I mean,
but
it could have gone either way. I think they should have stopped. They should have reviewed. They didn't. To my knowledge, they didn't.
they should have at a minimum done a quick replay from the New York City studios or wherever they do that from,
Yeah.
but they didn't even do that. But another thing about that, it had huge ramifications. Huge. McDermott would still be employed. The Bills would finally have an opportunity to compete in this championship game. They might actually beat New England in a rematch, and then they're going to the Super Bowl, which is what they've been trying to do. 8 of 9 seasons, they have been heavy contenders, right? Playoff contenders, and to have it snatched away as a result of a controversial call. I'm not saying it was the wrong call. Certainly some controversy surrounding that call. And it just fractured that organization to the point where the owner is out there throwing his players under the bus. It's just ridiculous what's happened as a result
You
of
can't like
that game.
that's a problem in Buffalo, right? Like
It
that's
is.
you can't do that,
Yeah.
and then get
Whether the
caught
guy's
lying.
underperforming or not, you
You
can't
get
do
caught,
that.
but you got caught lying. Like
Like you hire people to speak for you because your feelings are based in fandom, not in what you need to say. And that's just not cool. Yeah. So
so.
who do
Let's
you got in this game?
which one?
Well, let's go. Let's go AFC. We already know who you got NFC because you
Yeah,
said you like the Seahawks in
I
that
like
one,
the Seahawks all day. I that defense just
even
it,
without their running back. Charbonnet's out.
yeah, they got another. They have Walker, dude. They're fine.
Yeah, he's good.
Um, and I think that Dexter Lawrence is the best pickup in free agency for the season.
Dexter Lawrence, what are you talking about?
Not Dexter Lawrence, the dude who played for the Cowboys and is now on the Seahawks.
Uh,
Their DN.
let's see. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay.
Thank you. You're like, Dexter Lawrence? What? No. DeMarcus. I think he's the best pickup in the offseason. And that defense looks stout. And defense wins championships. And I think that home field, if not better, at least same playing field defense, Seattle. As far as the AFC goes, I'm going Denver. Right? I got something in my head that says Sean Payton is really going to game plan. He talked about Stidham, and we don't really know what he can do, right? Like the only experience he has on an NFL field is when the Patriots weren't good at all, and when he played for the Raiders, also not good.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been on some god awful teams. And now he's coming into a situation where, they're a machine, right? And taking nothing away from Bo Nix. But their game is built on short passes. Quarterbacks in the league today should be able to make short passes.
So, and they've said that Sean Payton pursued him. He was one of the first players he signed when he went to Denver also. So he knows that there's something there that he can count on. And I think Stidham knows that. And that's going to help his confidence going into this game because his coach pursued him immediately once he went to Denver.
Yep.
I don't know that I think that the Broncos. So the only reason that I could say, okay, advantage Denver, there's two things. Number one, I think that as good as Vrabel is, Sean Payton is better. And the second thing is they're playing at home, and the where they're playing matters, right? That altitude does something. It affects you. It's not even something mental. It's a physical thing that you go through. And if you're not used to playing there, then it's going to have an impact on you. Now, I don't know what they did to prepare for that. I couldn't tell you, the Patriots, that is. And I don't know that there's something that you can do to prepare for what your body's going to physically experience at Mile High Stadium. But I think advantage goes to the Broncos if you pick them only because of those two reasons. Now, on the other side of the ball, when you watch Drake May and you said he was the best quarterback in the draft last year, and you were right. The guy plays football like it's in slow motion.
Yeah.
He plays it like everybody else is trying to figure it out, and he's already got a well-oiled plan in place, and he's perfectly executing it. So, and I also think that their defense has played just as well as their offense as well.
Yeah.
So, everybody talks about the Orange Crush and Denver's defense, and rightfully so. These guys are balling over there, but don't discount the fact that the Patriots have a pretty good defense also.
Yeah.
And they've been balling as well. So it's going to be a good game, even absent Bo Nix, but I'm going to give the advantage to New England.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are an overall better team. And even though I give the edge in coaching to Peyton, he ain't much better than Vrabel. Vrabel's doing, I can't even, Who knew year one he'd be in a championship game, right? Year one. So I have to give the advantage to New England.
Well, not only that, when he first went to Tennessee, he turned that franchise around,
Turned it around.
right? And
A
then when the
dysfunctional
front
organization
office
at
got
that.
in the way, right? Like, I mean, they traded A.J. Brown, for Christ's sake, right? Like, they traded, like, arguably a top 5 receiver in the league. Well, you know?
Yeah, what was the quarterback that Vrabel had out there looking like an MVP candidate? I can't even remember his name right now.
The dude from Miami.
Yeah,
Tannehill.
right. Tannehill, Ryan Tannehill. Had him looking like an MVP candidate. They let King Henry go. Well, like, I don't understand what's happening in Tennessee. Something is wrong there. Where, and I'm not going to say it's anything wrong with the region. There's something wrong with that organization that you have this very good talent that keeps walking out the door. Either poor decision making by the front office in recognizing what they have on their roster, or their inability to structure contracts so that it makes sense in a way for them to keep them and draw in new talent. Even from who's their new head coach now? I just saw that come up actually, and I can't even remember. Let's see. They just hired Robert Saleh as their new head coach. Robert Saleh is their new head coach, which, I mean, he's got, well, we can go down a whole nother path with that. We're talking about championship games. But Tennessee, in letting talent go the way that they have, and Vrabel was still able to do something with a dysfunctional organization, I'm going to go with the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. I do like, can't believe it because I was never really a Sam Darnold fan. In fact, I really felt like Sam Darnold was lightning in a bottle when he was in Minnesota. He was good, don't get me wrong, coming out of college, but good in college doesn't translate always into good in the NFL. And I felt like he was just lightning in a bottle last year. He proved me wrong. He proved me dead wrong. Like, the dude's been balling, and he had one game where he threw 4 interceptions and just looked like absolute dog shit. And his team rallied behind him and was like, that was not his fault. And he has been balling. I mean, he had one bad game. It was a really bad game. But it's one bad game in 2 years. So, yeah, and then their defense is playing very well. And the location again. As much as I like, I got to listen, Matthew Stafford was a missed field goal away from not being in a championship game. Right? A missed field goal away from not being here. And as good as he is, the Seattle Seahawks 41-6, was it? 41-6 their last game? How do you put up numbers like that without it being a video game? Against an NFL caliber playoff team that's made it to the divisional round. How do you do that? I know Eagles fans weren't mad because they beat the brakes off of the San Francisco 49ers, but I don't know how you do that.
If I'm being honest, on paper, the Eagles should have done that to San Fran.
San
Fran had no business being there, right? Like, not that San Fran's a bad team, right? But they are playing you and me at their starting positions, right? Like, that's the reality. So when you go up a team that is healthy, well-oiled, and just humming, right? Seattle, how many games did Seattle win this year? 14? They won 14 games. Come on. You know, like, they're good. They're a good football team. And when your offense is really predicated around Christian McCaffrey and you have a defense that can stop that, you're going to score 6 points.
That's right.
You know, like,
that's right.
That's what's going to happen. So, not surprising. And, you know, if I'm being honest, you touched on it a little, and, you know, it's a nice moment for Eagle fans to see them get a little comeuppance because they talk some shit. As they should.
Yeah. But you know what? Eagles fan earned the right to talk shit for the past several years. They have been playoff Super Bowl contenders for probably the last 4 years.
5.
And they've earned it because, was it 5? I mean, they've been playing extremely well as an organization, and people can say what they want about Nick Sirianni, but he has had this team humming and humming in the way that you want to. Howie Roseman's done his job of making sure that you guys have had good depth.
Yeah.
I think that this year there was a crack in the armor when it came to your offensive coordinator with Kevin Petula. He was not the guy. And I think that Sirianni's judgment in retaining him throughout the season has really had fans questioning him in ways that he really hasn't been questioned before. And he deserved that, right? He deserved it. But especially given what you just said, there was no reason to lose that game. Every player you needed to be healthy in that game was healthy. They came in injured, battered, and bruised, but were well coached and knew. It's almost like they knew what your offensive play selection was going to be.
Well, when you call the same play 4 times in a row, you better know what I'm calling, right? Like, I don't know.
There was no disguises, though. The alignments were the same.
Nothing.
Everything was the same.
Everything was the same, dude. Jalen Hurts looked at Sirianni on the sideline as they called that last 4th and goal play. Looked at him like, are you fucking serious? Like, we're gonna get off. We're gonna go on a tangent, and that's a show for another day. But there's a lot to be said for the Eagles season. The reality is, they're a good team. Window's still open.
That's right.
We'll see what happens next year.
Let's talk about the highlight too. The high point is they repeated as division champions, first time since 2004, and I think they were the last ones to do it also.
Yep.
So they repeated as division champions. It doesn't look like you've got a lot of talent that has slowed down. I think that a lot of people are looking at your right tackle. What's his name? Lane
Johnson.
Lane Johnson
need to fix that.
Is he retiring or what?
I think he's going to try to give it another go, but it's up in the air. He's been playing injured for a long time, and it's the same injury. It's not like he's had multiple different injuries. It's his ankles. They suck. They're apparently made of glass. And, that takes a toll on the knees. It's the foot bone's connected to the
domino effect. Yeah. I tell you what, though, you had a Saquon Barkley who was healthy all year, and he had one of his lowest production totals of his career, which was just unfathomable to me. It's not just offensive line. I think it's Kevin Petula also, he's now gone.
It was up the middle. It was Tecmo Bowl play, right? We're just going to run up the middle every time. Nothing. Get him in space. That just get Saquon in space.
Yeah. It was definitely coaching malpractice.
Yeah. I just, and I can't explain it. They need an offensive coordinator. That person needs the keys to the offense. And just let him go. Just say,
who do you like? I know McDaniels would have been your guy, but he's gone.
Yes and no. Like, can you really have McDaniels and Sirianni on the same sideline?
I don't know. Can you?
It would be crazy.
Listen, you got Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown on the same sideline, and clearly there's something going on outside of football that keeps creating all this smoke with them.
Yeah. I like Dable.
I think Dable would be ideal.
I think it would be
But he's being considered for the head coaching job up in Buffalo right now.
Yeah. So we'll see how things shape up.
What about Cliff Kingsbury? You like him?
I would take a look at him. If I had if I had a magic wand, it would be Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's pretty satisfied at USC though, so
he's not leaving college. What really? I think he even put out a statement that he's comfortable where he is.
They pay him $20 bazillion a year, and it's USC. I'd be comfortable as well.
Yeah. I don't know that Clint Kubiak isn't going to leave Seattle after what he's done. He's probably going to be considered for a head coaching job. I don't know who else is out there that I would give a strong, hard look at. But, hey, what about if the Giants decide to move on from Mike Kafka.
Not a bad idea. I don't know. Like, it's almost the Eric Bieniemy effect, right? What about
Who was
Deuce
just hired again, by the way,
by the Chiefs?
by the
What
Chiefs.
about Deuce Staley?
Deuce Staley's name has come up several times, but given no real consideration. And
Right?
his name has come up in fan channels, right?
Yeah.
But not in coaching channels and the channels that you wanted to. I think he'd be somebody you got to take a long, hard look at.
Gotta
But I
look
don't know
at him.
why he's not given honest consideration.
It goes back to, like, why was Eric Bieniemy never given an opportunity for a head coaching job? Well, I think we found that out eventually. It just took a long time. We like to question things. Um,
But you
Apparently
should
they knew what
question
they were
things.
doing. Apparently the professionals knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And now they got him back in the role he's supposed to be in. And Deuce Staley's been an offensive assistant. So why I don't understand why. For the Eagles, don't
I
know.
think I think Dayball would be a good fit for you guys if we're gonna look at who's out. I mean, you got to make him a strong offer, right? You got to pay him, right? The guy's going to do a good job within running your offense. I don't think that there are certain coordinators that I think should stay coordinators. Jim Schwartz is a good example of that.
Yeah.
I think that you see some guys. Jonathan Gannon is probably a good example of that. Also, you see these guys who they make that leap. I think Mike McDaniel's the book is still out on him. He may be a good head. I don't know yet. I haven't seen enough. I'll tell you this too, Mike. I think Kevin Stefanski better OC than head coach. I think that he got head coach of the year on two separate occasions, but I think he's been a passenger on a bus, if you will. I think that head coach of the year has a lot to do with his defense more than had to do with his offense, and then some individual players just performing well. And they're going to say, well, he did it when he had 5 different quarterbacks starting in the year. Okay, that's because he's a good offensive coordinator. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's a good head coach. That's my perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
he's another one of those people. Brian Dable, I put him in that category.
Mm-hmm.
Good OC. I don't think that he's a guy that I would want to run my entire team. You focus on your offense. And you can see how when he did relinquish the reins and started to focus on just being the head coach and not head coach and play caller, he was effective. When he went to being head coach and play caller, completely ineffective. But when he was the OC in Buffalo, part of that was Josh Allen, not to take anything away. But he drew up some plays when they were missing receivers and they needed to win the game. He did some good things out there,
Yeah.
which earned him a head coaching position.
I mean, that's the way the NFL goes, but I 100% agree with you, right? And my only ask for whoever it is, that they're
Mike, I'm going to
not.
excuse myself for 1 minute. Just keep
Yeah.
sharing your thought, okay?
Yeah. The idea that, you know, offensive coordinators do a great job and they get moved into head coaching positions, we got to take a deeper dive into that, right? It's with any business, right? If you have somebody that's a really good, nurse, does that make them a really good charge nurse? Probably not, right? There's a leadership quality, ability to forward think, ability to think outside the box. And I'll say it again, more importantly, the ability to lead on multiple levels. And, just because you're a good offensive coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach. It doesn't mean you're not going to be either, but it does have a factor in there that, we need to take a deeper dive into that a little bit. We don't have much time left in this, so we're probably going to get into some other areas. I think we got our predictions in for this weekend, but let's it's a good segue to a couple things, right? MVP, right? Because I think the top two, I think one of the winners is playing this weekend. That's what I'm going to say.
One of the possible winners.
I think who's going to win and who I think should win are both playing this weekend.
Oh, okay. Let me hear your thoughts on that then.
I think that Drake May should win. I think Matt Stafford's going to win.
Mm. So you think it's going to be more of a popularity thing in the fact that he's a journeyman still doing it more than who deserves it?
It's really difficult. Dude's had a really good sophomore campaign. You know, I don't know when the votes went in, but I know that they're in. Like this weekend has no value to the voting structure whatsoever. But there's been a lot of talk about strength of schedule, and even though I don't think it should have a factor, I think it's going to be factored in. Who's had a rougher road to do what they've done? It's hard to say, right? It's really hard to say, and that like nowadays we need to look at stats a little bit different, right? Like it's you know total touch, like being able to get outside the pocket and pick up first downs is as good as being able to throw it, 20 plus yards down the field sometimes. And, when we had the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons and now the Drake Mays, even Bo Nixes that could get out of the pocket and score tutties on their feet, that needs to be accounted for when you look at overall production that a quarterback puts up. And I think Drake May has put up more production. Or just, I think that Stafford's production has come from the pocket. He's also got Puka Nacua.
I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think if you look at their production, I'm talking about regular season production, by the way, you have to consider who they are surrounded by. And I'm not just talking about offensively, because sometimes your defense is the reason you won some games. Sometimes it's sheer luck, right? But if you look into Puka Nacua, who should be considered as well, if we're keeping it 100, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the pairing of Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua, and for them to be as consistently good, like Mike, you know he's going to target this guy 10 times a game. You know it, and you still can't stop it. There's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah.
The level of difficulty is greater in that regard than if you have 6 or 7 different receivers you're spreading the ball out to each and every game. Credit them. That's great teamwork. That's not great individual work necessarily. So the level of difficulty for Matthew Stafford to outperform Drake May, I think, is greater in that regard. This is not to take away anything from Drake May, because he has had a stellar start to his career. And you can see already Tom Brady was good, and I am not making I'm just saying. But this kid, Drake May, coming in is looking real freaking good as his successor, right? Not his direct successor, but in the great quarterbacks in New England, if you will, successors, right? So I think that Matthew Stafford, he's got more passing yards. He's got 15 more touchdowns that he threw for in 2025. And he's doing it knowing that you're going to stop him or try to stop him from getting his number one guy. He's going to do it anyway. He's going to do it anyway. It's really hard for you to not take that into consideration.
Yep.
In terms of at the end of their careers, who's going to have more Super Bowls? Right now, it probably looks like, given the fact that Drake May is there and potentially going to be there in year 2 of his career, he may have more opportunities because Matt Stafford played on a shit team for so long. Mm-hmm. But Matt Stafford right now, bruh, I'm just saying, if you gave me the choice in 2025 to start my roster with Drake May, who I think would have been very good, versus Matthew Stafford, who am I picking?
Stafford.
I'm picking Matthew Stafford. And that's no shade on May.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matthew Stafford is good. Other guys have strong consideration. You could make an argument that Myles Garrett should be the MVP of the league. You could make that argument. You could make the argument, obviously, for Bo Nix.
You
You can
could.
make it for him. But I don't
Christian
know. I think
McCaffrey
Matthew
had a good year.
Stafford. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey has a good year every year, doesn't he?
Yeah, but like he carried an offense to
Yeah. Hey, when
to almost the division title.
yeah,
It-
he really did. I
you
mean,
know,
he was the starting
if
quarterback and running back 2 years ago when you guys faced him.
if you take McCaffrey with all the injuries that San Fran had, if you take McCaffrey off of that team, are they anywhere remotely close to a 500 team? No, they're not. And any person that is sane can't say otherwise, right? So, who's the most valuable player? I mean,
I
you can
think they could
say
be
that.
close to 500, but
You think?
they don't
With
finish
all
with
their
double digit
injuries.
wins. I don't think they get double digit wins, no,
No.
but they could be close to 500. I mean, that division is tough, though. That division is really fucking tough,
I
right?
mean,
But
you got Seattle, San Fran, and the Rams that were all
uh,
playing for the
yeah,
division in week 16.
yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
kudos to the NFL for making sure that division games start and finish the year. That was
Yeah.
one of the best things they ever did. And
Yeah.
whoever scripted the Thursday night games this year knocked it out of the fucking park,
Knocked
bro.
it out.
Because Thursday night's the new Monday night. And it's rough because I got to go to work on Friday morning and
I
you do
know.
too. But
I
oh
know.
my God. We've had some tremendous games.
Bangers. Bangers.
All right, so we I think both feel like Seattle is going to be in the Super Bowl. You go with against
Denver.
Denver, and I'm saying against New England, and I'm not even going to begin to offer an idea of who's going to win the Super Bowl before we get through this weekend.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good one either way. It'll be a good. I do think, and I will say, I do think that as it stands now, the NFC has more talent than the AFC as it stands right now. And that's because you got a backup quarterback going in.
Yep.
But whoever, listen, Stidham could go out there and light shit up with Sean Payton, leading that team. And then we could feel like, oh my God, this Super Bowl is going to be epic, right?
Yeah.
But who knows?
Who knows?
One other thing I do want to bring up real quick, and maybe we could squeeze this into a quick 5-minute conversation. I do want to take a look at the NFC East because obviously we are fans of that division. I think that the cream of the crop is still Philadelphia right now. I have no idea what to say about Washington. I thought firing Cliff Kingsbury was, I don't even know why they did that, if I'm
I
being
think it's
perfectly honest with
premature.
you. Yeah, I think that he was put on a chopping block for things that were beyond his control, right? And I think that for him to go in there with Marcus Mariota, first of all, I need to say they totally mishandled the quarterback's injury. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. They totally mishandled his injury. They should have never put him back on the field after that gruesome injury that he suffered, dislocating his elbow. 4 games later, he's back out there. That was not enough time. I'm not a medical doctor, and I know that wasn't enough time to heal, right? Totally mishandled that. I think with the running back room that they have, they did well with Marcus Mariota in there during his absence. And I thought Cliff Kingsbury did enough to retain his job. The fact that they fired him tells me a lot about that organization. They have no idea what the hell they're doing, right? And when it comes to Dallas, you got Dak Prescott putting up incredible numbers. That organization, what do you say about that? I mean, let's for a minute, Mike, if you can, because we are universally Dallas haters. You either love Dallas or you fucking hate them, right? But you got to give credit to Dak Prescott and what he was able to do on a bad team with a historically bad defense this year. But Mike, I can't make sense of that organization. What's happening in Dallas? Two-part question. Based on what I've said about Washington, what are you expecting to see from them next season? And I'm going to
Right.
ask you the same thing about Dallas based on what we've seen and how poorly they've been handled this year as well.
So I see two things. I'm gonna be quick because we're gonna spend a little bit more time on the other two teams, right? So Washington, I see 9-8 at best, right? I don't think their head coach is anything special. I just
We don't
don't,
even know who their OC is going to be yet,
right? We
though.
don't know who their OC is gonna be. And as flashy as Jaden Daniels was his rookie season, like I mean, you could say the same thing about Devontae Smith, but Jaden Daniels is skinny, right? And like the quarterback can't take hits like that, right? Like, and he has shown not to be super durable. The arm was a freak injury, right? Like that was just a freak injury. It was gruesome. It was nasty. And I agree with you 100%. So I think that until they show me otherwise, they're a mid team, right? As far as Dallas is concerned, Dallas may win the division next year.
You never know with them.
That's the reality of what Dallas is. But they have the Jerry Jones factor, where he has to be the buck stops here, and he just makes egregiously bad decisions. Egregiously bad,
Terrible.
and he has no onus to give that up. Right?
How do you get rid of Micah Parsons? How do you not figure that out? Listen, you just talked about DeMarcus Lawrence. How do you not figure that out?
Figured out.
And I would go on a limb and say Trayvon Diggs, who wasn't very good there, but part of that might have been mental because of the bad situation he was in.
Yeah.
I don't understand I don't give a shit if I'm being honest with you. Let them continue down the road and the path that they're on, but it makes no sense at all just from a football fan perspective.
And then there's Dak, right? Like, you're going to throw for 5,000 yards, but for whatever reason, you can't come up big.
He needs to request a trade, bro.
You know what I mean?
Fuck out of Dallas because he's playing well. You know what he is? He's Dallas's what Matthew Stafford was to the Lions, Dak Prescott is to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Get him the fuck out of there.
So that's where I'm not worried about Dallas winning the division, right? Like, I think that the Eagles are good enough. They're still vying for a wild card, right? At minimum. Because Dallas gets in the playoffs and chokes. So I'm not, but they can easily win 13, 14 games. Their offense is that good.
Not with that defense.
Sucks, right? And if they don't change that, they're not going to win the division.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm just going to say that point blank. If they don't do something to drastically overhaul that defense, they're going to be mid. 9-8.
Right.
Best.
Really?
The team
You're being very generous, man.
Yeah. Well, the team that's going to make the biggest leap is the Giants, right? And that's a John Harbaugh factor. And I think that he's been a quality, maybe not elite, but definitely a franchise head coach, right? If anybody's ever coined that term, right? Where he is getting teams to the playoffs. You talk to some Ravens fans the last 5, 6, 7 years, man. They are not happy with John Harbaugh. They've wanted him gone for years. Not that I think that they're going to win a Super Bowl, because no Super Bowl winning coach has ever left a team.
I've seen that stat.
To go win another Super Bowl with another team, right? So Andy Reid comparisons are a little bit different here, because Andy never won the Super Bowl with Philly, right?
Well, you see more examples of head coaches flaming out than you do having success.
He's got a really good team, though. A good foundation, right? I think your offensive line's still shitty. I think your defense needs a kick in the ass. You should be top 5 defense in the league. But I really like Jackson Dart, and I really like Cam Scatterboo. I think that you have a really short window with both of those characters, though. I just do.
Why, you think eating crayons for breakfast isn't a good diet when you're starting running back for an NFL football team?
And his ankle injury was gruesome, dude. That's hard, so we'll see.
Those young
how
guys
he comes
heal
back.
quick, though. Yeah.
but like they both play with reckless abandon, and I'm not sure you could do that in the NFL for a sustained amount of time. That's my only concern with them. For the
All
next two
right.
or 3 years with John Harbaugh at the helm, you guys are going to win double-digit games. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I'm excited about John Harbaugh, but I have tempered expectations. I've seen this movie before. Not with John Harbaugh being one of the main actors in it, but nobody has hurt me more than the Giants have over the past 14 years of my life. However, I do have good reason, good reasons, and on good authority to have some excitement, right? I
You
mean,
should
the
have some.
guy the guy boasts one of the best winning percentages as a head coach over the past 20 years. It's something that's not easy to do. And one of the things that I was really interested in was seeing how he handled his introductory press conference, and if I detected anything that would suggest that this was a next stop of my career and kind of flat and we don't know what to expect, but it was anything but that. He was fired up, energized, ready to go. I don't know if you saw any of the interviews or press conferences, but the guy really, if there was a standard that you need to set
Mhm.
for an introductory press conference, he knocked that shit out of the park. Now, Giants fans, that's all we've had to cheer about, right? Was a
Yeah.
fucking press conference
Yeah.
for a long time, right? But he's starting off on the right foot. He fired damn near everybody
Huh?
in the Giants building,
Yeah.
almost everybody. And one of the conditions that he has had was that he reports directly to ownership, not to Joe Shane, which a lot of people think has been a problem for the Giants. And there's reasons people feel that way. But I would also say, not in Joe Shane's defense, that he has assembled a decent roster, at least a foundation to draw from. Not didn't do well on depth, but the key pieces are in place. What made the Giants attractive for John Harbaugh is there's a couple of things. Number one, he's got his franchise quarterback. Number two, as bad as the Giants defense was this year, the last 4 games, 5 games of the season, in every statistical category, their defense was in the top five for the last 5 games. For the first 12 games, they were in the bottom 30, 31 position in all those same statistical categories. Granted, when you're at the tail end of the season, other teams aren't playing you the same way, but that's an incredible jump to go from the bottom to the top five.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Charlie Bullen is one of the only coaches that John Harbaugh kept. He was the interim defensive coordinator after they got rid of Shane Bowen. He also kept Tim Kelly, who was the interim offensive coordinator. That doesn't mean they're going to be in those same roles, but that's who he kept. So I have reason to be encouraged, but I'm not stupid either because I know what it feels like to be hopeful and then be met with, the reality of you are still a 4-13 team, right? Do I think they're going to be a 10 plus win team? Well, Colin Coward seems to think so. I think that if the Giants win 8 games, I'm going to be tickled pink. I think that the next year, the following year, they should be a double digit winning team. But year one, let's get
Yeah.
the guy to get an opportunity to assemble a staff, develop some cohesion, and we'll have this conversation again come training camp and see what we're seeing on the field.
Yeah, and yeah, so I'm glad you clarified that because I said you're going to win double digit games. However, I agree with you. I think that this next season is preseason, right? Like your expectation should just be we're getting loose, we're dusting off the winter cobwebs, and we're getting ready, right? That's what the season is. Um, you know, what's his name? His brother Jim. I mean, he took him a season. He need to get his system in play, right? Like and the system works. But do you have all the right people? And the answer is no, right? Like
They need
it's
a
just,
line in a worse way in
you need a
LA.
fucking line, dude.
Jesus.
So that leaves the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
you know, so we've already said that everybody else is still shit next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles still have a 3 to 5 year window, right? And I say that with
I don't
not
think it's
full.
3 to 5. That's the only thing I think I'm gonna disagree with you on.
Okay, that's fair. The salary cap is going to play a factor in that, right? Like they have some decisions to make. You have Brown, Carter, they both need to be signed. You have Nolan Smith. You have Jalen Phillips that would be, hate to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, N'Kobe Dean is probably gone, and I hate that, right? Do I
Mm-hmm.
think that um, his backup, what's his name? Who'd they draft? Jahad
Mm-hmm.
Campbell. I think Campbell is adequate, but I think N'Kobe Dean is a little bit more special than we thought he was, but he can't stay healthy. So they're
And
going
you
to let
drafted
him
him
go.
injured, and he didn't disappoint.
No, no. Didn't disappoint. Will he give us a hometown discount knowing that he's injury prone? Probably not. Someone's going to pay him the bag, right? So we're probably going to lose him. We still have a few years to worry about the secondary. I think this coming season, you go out and you get another Darius Slay for the other side of the ball in the secondary, right? Like they went out and found the free agent that still had miles on the tread left, and they got Darius Slay to come in and do what he did. They need to do that again.
Or are you talking about Adoree Jackson?
Dory Jackson is terrible, dude,
I'm glad you said that.
right? They have
He
Quinn
used to be such
Mitchell.
a really good tackler, but just not a good defender. And I don't know. He's had some moments though where he's flashed in Philly.
Well, and if Week 17 showed me anything, Ringo and the other
Oh,
Jacorius
Ringo.
Bennett are god awful, dude.
Oh my God.
God awful. Like Ringo could play special teams. Keep him on the team. Everybody likes him. Apparently, he's a special teams guy. That's it. But like they got some problems on the line of not all at once, but they got to start figuring out. So Howie's got to put
Yeah.
his magic dust in the cauldron and
Yeah.
start figuring it out, right?
I think that's where your issues, right tackle, secondary, are going to be some key concerns. You definitely got to make sure that you get. You got some players that their contract. What are you going to do? I don't know what you're going to do. And we all knew the salary cap was going to be something that the Eagles were going to have to deal with sooner or later.
Dallas Goddard might be
But
gone.
yeah, I think that the Eagles are still the best option to win the division out of the NFC East right now. I think that I don't think your window is 3 to 5 though. I think your window is more like 2 to 3. I think there's going to be a lot of change in movement within that organization. And I don't think they're going to fall off, but I think there's going to be some things that they're going to have to adjust to. Fans are going to have to stop having that expectation of we're going to the Super Bowl every year.
We're
And I
going
think
next
that
year.
the Eagles I think the Eagles fans have been spoiled. And damn it, that's what you want from your team, right?
Yeah,
You want a team that you can feel proud of, that you can have bragging rights about. And the Eagles have had that for a number of years. And when you see the play calling and the performance for some of the people in your secondary that you've seen this year, it doesn't comport with
yeah.
what you've been given so easily over the past few years. But I think the window is starting to close on their opportunity to have this much talent to be able to have a clear path, if you will. Not necessarily
Yeah.
an obstacle free path, but it's the clearest path. And it's gonna get more and more difficult. The salary cap's gonna have something to do with it.
hmm
And then keeping players who want the bag is going to have to. I don't think it was as easy as some people think to let Saquon Barkley walk when the Giants did it. I don't think it was that. And if you base his numbers this year off of what Joe Shane was saying 2 years ago, it kind of makes sense. Don't matter because he got the bag, he got the Super Bowl, and it worked out, right? But you're going to have so many more of those discussions moving forward. Now, all that being said, I still think the Eagles are the team to beat. The Eagles got the best chance of get 3 times three-peating as division champs. I think you are far too gracious with Dallas. Far too. I also think you were too gracious with Washington. I think Washington, you're going to see how bad management is in their ability to draft good play. They spent money on that offensive line last year and ended up destroying their quarterback. Money. That I don't think Washington has a good running back room. They got a good defensive front. That offensive line is terrible. And I think their secondary has a lot of questions in it too.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning more than 7 games. I don't see Dallas winning more than 8 games. Dallas is so dysfunctional. And you got ownership, and I don't understand. And it's not because they don't have talent. It's because their front office, they'll get talent and give it away because they got mad at a person. It makes no sense to me. So if I were to stack where I think the teams are going to end up next year, it's going to be Eagles, probably Dallas, even with all that dysfunction. I think the Giants, because of John Harbaugh, is going to be in the 3rd position, and Washington's going to hold up the rear.
That's so when I say mid, that's the kids. That's Mac talking in slang today, right? Mid means just low quality.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
When I say mid, like both those squads are mid. And I know we've stretched out time a little bit longer, so 2 things I'm going to end with here, right? Predominantly, I think we're on the same page with just about almost everything that we've discussed today.
Real close. We're in the same neighborhood.
I really like that hoodie, sleeveless hoodie, right? Like I got to give you your props on your fit game with your team look gear, right? So,
Mike, I got so much dumb shit, it ain't even funny, bro. But I appreciate it.
You know, I'm going to talk trash and logic at the same time.
Okay.
Tell me if you like it. So the Eagles in Jalen Hurts' career as a starter, wild card loss, Super Bowl. Wild card loss, Super Bowl win. Wild card loss. So logic tells you they're going to the Super Bowl next year.
That's not logic. That's crack talking.
Hey.
I ain't trying to hear that stupid
statistics, baby. Data. You know? Maybe I read it as
reliable data.
It's reliable to me.
Okay. All right. I see your logic. Go ahead. What else you want to say?
I mean, that's really it, right? Like, I mean, their O-line's a little concerning. I'm not concerned with the contracts for next year. I think we're going to lose Goddard, right? I like Calcaterra, but I really like Goddard as a football player. I really, you know.
Honestly, historically, the Eagles have done very well with their tight ends.
Yeah. So
didn't Zach Ertz sign to retire with you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's cool.
Well,
I still always saw him as an Eagle
because he just got hurt in Washington.
Right, but I think he signed a 1 day to retire with the Eagles. I thought I heard something about that, or that was his intent.
Probably his intent.
Yeah.
I mean, not Zach Martin.
Zach Martin. Cowboys just keep coming up, don't they?
No. He does have a desire to keep playing.
Okay. What a nasty injury for him, though. Oh, my God. I saw that in real time. I said, he's done. He's done. It was hard to watch.
He said, well, he'd like to keep playing, but he's pretty certain it's over. due to
I
his
think
age.
he's going to
and the
sign. I read
expense.
somewhere he's going to sign a one-day to retire an Eagle, though.
I mean, as he should. You know, he's
Yeah.
a big part of that Super Bowl team. So, and team.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Mike, I got to say, this was great. We don't get together pod enough.
Yep.
I think that we have good energy. We complement each other real well when we talk ball. We share similar hatred for the Cowboys because fuck them, right?
Fuck them.
Fuck them, right?
Fuck them.
No, but for real, we always have good content that I think we talk about, and we need to do it more. Absolutely.
More often, trim off 20 minutes. That's the goal.
Trim off 20 minutes. That's the goal, and we'll get to that. But listen, I just want to say thanks, everybody, for joining us. Mike said that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl next year. We're going to call him on. If they don't win, we're going to let him know we remembered. But that's a way too early prediction. We're going to let him have that. But we both agree that the Seahawks are going to be in the Super Bowl. We disagree with who's going to represent the AFC, but enjoy the games today. We'll talk to you guys soon. And I'm going to say, go Big Blue. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Go Birds, dickhead. That's what I'm gonna
Love
say.
it. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
All right, peace.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go. I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan man like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the doves like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the Most High, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's a thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year. It's my year.